Welcome to Vintage Gaming Memories. Shall we play a game?
Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for stopping by and checking out this video. Now this is going to be an interesting vintage pickup that I acquired 5 or 6 weeks ago, because there are 3 items in this package, but all of them are by the same manufacturer. I'll open this up and you'll see how cool of a vintage pickup this really is. Here's all 3 of them. Can you figure out what these are? Time's up. Well, maybe this helps. Here are all 3 of them. And yes, they are all Radioshack, Radioshack, and Radioshack. Now, before I get into this, a big shout out to the seller for a nice packing job. It was perfectly packaged, as you might have noticed in the beginning of the unboxing. All 3 of these were nicely wrapped up and secured in the box. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Now, back to these 3 items. Yeah, they're all Radioshack, and of course, Radioshack is a vintage name, and it's a name that I grew up with, and probably many of you as well. I've never seen any of these 3. Let me know if you guys have ever seen any of these, because this was new to me. Now, I've reached out to a friend asking about this robot and looked on some of the Facebook groups and some other forums, and this is pretty rare and desirable, especially if it works and if it's all intact. Well, I have it, and it's all there, but we'll get more into that in a second. Let's start off with the left side here first. We'll go with this bottle. It's a Pepsi bottle, right? But it's a radio. This is actually an AM transistor radio. As you can see, I have the box for it. And inside, you're going to see that there are instructions included. Now this takes 2 AA batteries, and there it is. Speaker holes there. The batteries go in. I believe you open this apart and it's inside there. Background on this, the seller did note that it works, but static on the volume control. So that sounds like a job for deoxit on the volume pot. So that should be a quick and easy fix, I hope. And this one came out in 1982. All right, let's put that to the side and get to the next one. This is the robot AM radio named Radiobot. Now this came out in 1985. It takes one 9-volt battery, as you can see here. And the seller noted that it does not work because the battery contact is broken. So I think I can fix that, but let's take it out of the box. I know the arms are adjustable. I kind of did some research and read a little bit about it. There's not a battery cover. Oh, there it is. That's what's the problem. I can definitely fix that. That's not a problem. I have spare parts, and I can put a new connector there for my 9-volt. It's a radio. We'll get this thing up and running for sure. And then, let me make some room here. This is last, but definitely not least. This is the Radioshack radio-controlled robot. What the seller had told me is that this does inflate. I believe there's even a picture of it inflated on the listing. And the only issue, I believe, was that the wheels don't move, but the motor is working. So we'll have to look into that. I'm not sure exactly what the problem is, but I think I could fix that. So here's the inflatable robot itself. We'll inflate that. And here's the base. Here's the remote. It's looking pretty used up, but that's okay. I mean, it is from the early 1980s, making this over 40 years old. And we do have instructions with this. And we even have some vinyl plastic repair kit instructions. Here's a look at the base where the inflatable robot will be positioned onto. This is going to take 4 C-size batteries. The compartment looks very clean. Also one 9-volt. I think we can get this to work. All right, so first things first, what I'm going to do is address that Pepsi AM transistor radio. That should be pretty quick and easy. If it's just the pots on that one, I can just spray it and then we're good to go. It didn't take too long to clean this up. It looks pretty neat. Check it out. Nice and shiny, nice and smooth. Everything looks good on this thing. I tell you, it's in really good condition. Now, looking at the instructions a little bit, I do know how this thing works. Your volume control is this upper part, and you just turn it clockwise. You'll hear it turn on. That click. Turn it on. Keep going clockwise to increase the volume. And you can see it does say volume right on the clear plastic. And then on the bottom, you twist this to tune in to your stations. Now, you can see the stations here. This is AM, and you can see 54, 60, 70. So it's, 540, 600, 700, 800, and 1000, and 1300, and 1600. So that's how you adjust that. And there's a little hash mark on that clear plastic so you know which one you're tuning into. So that's all you have to do. Now, we have to put some batteries in here. Now let's open this up first. It says that you want to hold the Pepsi Cola in your left hand and then Pepsi in your right hand and squeeze it and pry it apart carefully. I haven't done this yet, so I am being careful. All right, not too bad. And look at that, easy access to the pot. Right there, I'll be spraying that baby up to make sure there's no static. 2 AA batteries, and looks pretty clean. So let's get some batteries in there. All right, batteries are in. Volume is on, low or off. So we'll turn it clockwise and we'll see what we got. Yeah, they're static. Let me just spray the pots first to get that static out of there. So let's do that first. I use the oxide. Love this. And then you have settings on here. You got low, medium, or high. I always put it on the low. And we're going to just spray right into the pots here. And I can take the battery out so you don't have to hear that. But I just wanted to see if it was working, and it is. I'm going to work it all the way through. Doesn't take much. Let's put that battery back in, and let's give this a test again. No static. Let's close this up. All right, got it all closed up, and we will turn it on. No static on the volume control. Sounds good. Now we just got to tune it in. So it sounds good. You can definitely hear the station tuned in. It's not something I guess you'd probably want to be listening to all the time through, but it's a cool novelty gift. And it works, and it looks like it's brand new as far as the condition goes. So that's a nice pickup. So let's get to the next one, which is the robot, the AM radio robot. I have this all cleaned up, and it looks good, right? Pretty cool looking. Arms kind of move on this. You can position it however you like. In the back here, you have your volume control. And then your tuning here, your stations, once again. You can see the stations. And then the battery compartment, missing the door. And the connector clip here, as you can see, it's missing a piece, a key piece. That positive connection, which would go on this wire, is missing. I usually have a handful of the 9-volt battery clip connectors available. I think I only ordered 5 the last time and I used them, but I just ordered some more online. You can get them really cheap on Amazon. Always good to have handy. I ordered just 20 of them for about $7. Really cheap. But I have a lot of stuff that's just, parts only. Like this like this Coleco head-to-head football. The play field not really too pretty. It does take a 9-volt battery, and what I'm going to do is just take this one out. I know there's more in here. I'm going to pull it out, and then we can just solder that onto this one, and we'll have a nice working one. There's different types, too, by the way. If you go online, you can get this faux leather-looking one, you can get a leather one, and you get plastic, hard plastic. I'm going to open this up, and then try to get some more of the wire out before I cut it. So here we go. This should be a quick and easy fix. We're just going to cut this one off right about here. And then I'm going to go ahead and solder this together. All right, well, a few things that happened in the mid-process of getting this prepped and ready to go for soldering. What happened was I noticed that the gauge on the Coleco wire that is for this connector, 9-volt connector clip, is actually thicker than the gauge of the wire that was existing on this Radiobot. So I'm thinking to myself, I have enough wire on this clip, why not just go directly to the board? So there's no need to go ahead and solder 2 wires together and electrical tape it or heat shrink a connector to it. So that's what I did. And actually, it's a lot better that way. It's definitely more secured. So I got the wire and I soldered it right on the board itself. And it's definitely good. It's long enough. I mean, that's how much extra I have. After I get it all buttoned up, you'll see how much room I have to plug in the 9-volt. But that should be plenty. Plus, I have it open now and I can go ahead and deoxit the pot here for the volume. And I think that's about it. So let's go ahead and put the 9-volt battery now and test this out so that we don't waste our time of putting this together and finding out it doesn't work. Okay. And by the way, I didn't mention it. This is the speaker. It's a separate part. Here are the base part, or his legs, where the main part of the board exists. So we're going to turn this on. So we got some stations in here. I'm going to go ahead and put this back together again with it all nicely screwed together back and see how it looks and works. Looks good. Arms still work. Now we just need to go ahead and put the battery back in, and let's try this again. Have plenty of room with this clip, the 9-volt battery clip. So that's perfect. I just need now a cover, which hopefully I could probably 3D print one. We'll see. It's not like I really need something at this moment, but it'd be nice to have. All right, battery's in. I'll just hold it in place. Volume is on the right here. So we'll turn it on.
Prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. So don't wait. Join the hundreds of thousands of guys who've gotten hope for their ED through HIMS.
To start your free online visit and find ED
So,
treatment at up to 95% off brand name
ED
prices.
treatment on perfect. All right. Try to see if I get some music on AM.
Dallas. Denver won at Utah 132-121. Nikola Jokic with
A lot of sports on talk radio, but hey, it works. It looks great. The strap is in great condition as well. The radio works. No static at all on the volume. So it all turned out great. Let's get to the next robot, which is pretty cool looking because that's a remote control robot and it's inflatable. Let's check that one out. We have batteries put in, the remote. I didn't clean this up yet, but the batteries are in. Fresh batteries. I have 4 C-size batteries plus a 9-volt for the actual robot base. And that's good to go. And the motor's running. You can hear it. The gears aren't spinning for the wheels. Let's see if my button works. Doesn't do anything. Let's open this thing up and see what's inside there. Well, not much to this. As you can see, the insides here. Here's the motor, and there's the gears. And if that motor isn't spinning, that main gear right there, which if I push it down, it probably will actually spin it now. Let's just give this a try. I got the batteries all in. I just pulled the board out of the little slot to make it a little bit easier. And that little gear, let me point that one out. This one right here was actually sticking out a little bit like that. So it was not going to grab onto the teeth of the other gears. I just pushed that back in. So now it will. So let's turn this on. Let's see. There we go. So this will be moving. I'm not sure about the remote yet. Let's turn this off. I'm not sure about the remote, if that's going to have any effect to that gear. Maybe this is something that's going to need to be open as well. I took the 9-volt out of the remote. I just realized, because I didn't look closely, I just slapped that in. Notice, look how corroded this contact is here. That needs to be cleaned up. So maybe it's not even making a true connection, and that's probably why it's not registering. So let's go and clean that out first, and then we'll try it one more time. That just took me a second to go ahead and get some baking soda and some vinegar and wired brush and just get all that green stuff off as best as I could. That's just a quick first pass, and it got it nice and clean. I will obviously do a lot better job when I take this all apart, and I have a really cool tool to use. I don't know if I ever showed this before, but it's this. It's kind of like a mini Dremel, and it has attachments to it, just like a Dremel would. But it's not as powerful as that, and it's just made for, well, it's made for other things, but it's really made for my purpose to do stuff like this, to clean out contacts, to do kind of small little cuts on plastic. It's more a precision type tool. So I'll be doing that with this to get this cleaned up. But in the meantime, I want to try this now and see if it makes a difference. And hopefully it will. So the battery's in. Just lift this up and I will turn it on. Sorry for the noise. All right, let's press the button. Oh, it's going a different direction. I'll let go of the button. Press the button. Let go. Press. Let go. It's hard to see in the camera, but it is going a different way. Right now, it's going back and forth. But if I press it down, it's going one direction forward. You can hear the sound of the motor is different too. If I let go, press it down, let go. So, all right, enough of that. That did work. I'll clean this a lot better, open it up, check the contacts in there as well for the button, clean this whole thing out on the exterior, polish it, oil that motor, do the gears, clean it up, the wheels, all the base, everything, and then we'll inflate the actual robot and try all this out. I am all done with cleaning the remote. Let me just show you how that looks and how it turned out. So here is the contact for the negative on the 9-volt. It came out nice and clean and shiny. I did use that tool. It actually took like, I don't know, 30 seconds to clean it all up, and then I just wiped it down with some more vinegar and cleaned the plastic on the outside as well. The button nice and clean. So we're just ready to close this up, and then I'll work on the actual base, take all this apart, and we'll get that cleaned up. So here's where we're at with everything. Starting with the remote, cleaned this up, polished it. It looks great. Also the insides, made sure that there is no corrosion on those contacts. So we're ready to go with that. And as for the base itself on the robot, I took the motor out of the plastic housing, shot a few drops of 3-in-1 oil, and then made sure I spun it around with a 9-volt. All you got to do is just make the contact touch here and change direction. All was good. So now we're just going to put all this back together again. Everything was clean as well on the wheels here, and these gears are nice and clean. All the excess oil and other gunk that was on there, hair, and whatever else might have been picked up from the carpeting has been removed. And we'll just put this all back together. I'm going to clean the base on the outside afterwards because I think there's some touch-up paint work that I'll do, and I'll show you the before and after, and then I'll come right back. Everything's been put back together for the base. I also cleaned it and polished the sides, the top, the bottom as well. So that's the best it's going to get right now. It is smooth, clean. This is the part I'm talking about. You can see all the scratches on the silver that came through to the black underneath. Now, you may not see this when you put the actual robot that's inflatable on top of this area, but I see it. So what I'm thinking about doing is using some of my paint marker, and I have a silver one here that just might match, maybe a little bit too dark, but we'll just try it out in a little area and see how it looks. Shake it up really good. And we're just going to do it on a little area. Let's try it like right over here. Let's see what difference this makes. I'd say it's a pretty good match. I'm going to do the rest of this and see how this looks. I'm done with my touch-up, and I know you're probably thinking, hey, I could see where you touched up. Yeah, exactly. The silver is not a perfect match with what was on the actual plastic body of this, but it's a lot better to see that than to see the black scratches that were everywhere. And remember, I'm going to have the inflated robot that's going to sit right in here. It'll probably cover up a lot of this, but I just wanted to get most of it out of the way so your eyes wouldn't be drawing attention to it, and it's not that bad. This is all ready to go. I'm going to put the batteries in. Let's put it on a flat surface on the ground, since it's not going to really move well on carpeting. And I think it even says right here, operate robot on a smooth floor or flat rug. So that's what we're going to do. We're ready to go and give this a test. So I have this upstairs on some hardwood floors, and this 3-foot inflatable robot, Tandy Corporation for TC, is ready to roll. So let's see how this works. Press the button, goes reverse. Let go, it goes forward. A little squeaky, I can fix that later. But hey, bottom line, it works. What do you all think? It's a pretty cool looking robot, especially because it's a Radioshack Tandy Corporation one. Well, that's about it for this video. I hope you enjoyed watching it. And until next time, keep that gaming passion from the past alive by living it today. Take care, everyone.